Hello, Algebra 2 students. So in today's lesson, we're going to talk about how to go from standard form to vertex form. So we've talked about the other forms already. We've talked about how to go from vertex form to standard form, and then from standard form to factored form, etc. So today, again, we're going to start in standard form and we're going to end up in vertex form. Now remember, the main thing we get out of vertex form is the vertex, hence the name. So to do this, we have to do something called completing the square, and this should sound familiar to you. So remember, standard form looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember, the y-intercept is your constant c. And then in vertex form, it looks like a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. And remember, h comma k is your vertex. So in the directions we're going to do today, it says to write each quadratic in vertex form. What we're really doing is completing the square. And then also we're going to identify what the vertex is. Okay, I highly recommend you taking notes in your notebook. If we were in person, you would be writing this down in your notebook. So I highly recommend you doing that. And then there will be a worksheet. Today there are a total of 10 problems. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to write it in vertex form and identify the vertex. So let's begin. So if I have the function f of x equals x minus 6x plus 12. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to group together the x squared minus 6x, and then we're going to put the plus 12 outside here. Okay, so to complete the square here, what we're going to do, if you remember, is we're going to take this middle term, which is negative 6. We're going to divide it by 2, and then we're going to square it to put in that blank. So negative 6 divided by 2, excuse me, is negative 3. And negative 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to put a plus 9 there. But we can't just add 9 to both sides and call it good. Or add 9 to that side and call it good. It's not balanced anymore. So if we add 9 in here, then we also have to subtract 9 out there. Because 9 minus 9 is 0. So we really didn't make a change. Okay, so way this factors. If you need to think about it. We can do it this way. So what multiplies to give me 9 and adds to give me negative 6? Hopefully you're thinking negative 3 and negative 3. So it should be just x minus 3 quantity squared. In general, it's whatever you get when you divide that middle term by 2 before you square it. So negative 6 divided by 2 is that negative 3 there. Okay, and then what do we have left outside the parentheses? 12 minus 9 is a positive 3. So this is the function in vertex form. So again, this is vertex form. So we have x minus 3 quantity squared plus 3. And then notice in my directions, I also said to identify the vertex. So the vertex is going to be 3 comma 3. So again, you're going to take your middle term, divide it by 2, and then square it to get this, in this case, this 9. And then you're going to complete the square there. So we're going to break it down into that vertex form, put it in vertex form, and then identify the vertex. Okay, next problem. So we have f of x equals x squared plus 10x plus 7. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to group together the x squared and the 10x. And then we're going to put the 7 out there. So again, what we do is we take our middle term, which is 10, divide it by 2, and then square it to get that term. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. And if we're going to add 25 there to the problem, we need to subtract 25 out here to keep it balanced, because 25 minus 25 is a 0. Okay, so the way this factors, it's going to be x plus 5 quantity squared. Now notice the 10 divided by 2 is where I get the 5 from. Or you can think of it as what multiplies to give me 25 and adds to give me 10. That would be 5 and 5. And then at the end here, 7 minus 25 is going, if you need to grab a calculator or do mental math, is negative 18. So again, this is the vertex form. So what do I need to do yet is to identify the vertex. So the vertex is going to be -5, -18. So again, process for today is to write it in vertex form and to identify the vertex. Okay, let's continue on then. I've got two more. These ones have a lead coefficient. So what I'm going to do first in this one, like I did in the last one, is I'm going to group together the 2x squared and the 16x, and then I'm going to put the plus 96 out here. Okay, now if you have a lead coefficient other than 1, what you want to do is factor it out. So if I have a lead coefficient in this case of 2, I'm going to factor out the 2, and I'm left with x squared plus 8x, and then I still have that 96 out there. I'm not going to factor the 2 out of the 96. I'm going to keep that b. Okay, so again, what we're going to do is we're going to take our middle, which is 8, divided by 2, and square it to get that number there. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 squared is 16. Now to keep it balanced, you got to subtract it as well. Now, I'm not just going to subtract 16. Let's keep in mind, that really means 2 times 16. 2 times 16 is 32, so I have to subtract 32 out here to keep it balanced. Okay, so if I continue this, I've got 2, and then I'm going to have x plus 4 quantity squared. Again, I can get the 4. 8 divided by 2 is 4, or I can think what multiplies to give me 16 and adds to give me 8. That's going to be 4 and 4. And then out there, I have 96 minus 32, which is 64. So again, this is the vertex form. 2 times the quantity x plus 4 squared, and then plus 64. So my vertex is going to be at -4, 64. So again, we're completing the square to get the quadratic in vertex form, and then we're also identifying the vertex. Okay, I've got one more example for us today. This time I've got f of x equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 4. So just like the previous problem, we're going to group together the 3x squared and the 12x, and we're going to put the plus 4 at the end. And like I said in the previous problem, if we have a lead coefficient other than 1, we're going to factor that out. So if we have a lead coefficient of 3, we're going to factor out the 3. And we're left with x squared minus 4x, and then again we still have the plus 4 at the end here. So to find this missing term, we're going to take the middle term, which is -4, divided by 2, and square it. -4 divided by 2 is -2, and -2 squared is plus 4. Okay, now to keep it balanced, instead of putting -4 here, it's not really 4, it's, sorry about that, it is 3 times 4, which is 12, so to keep it balanced, I have to subtract off 12. Okay, so to do it one more step, we're going to have 3 times, okay, in this case, -4 divided by 2 is -2, or we can think of it as what multiplies to give me 4 and adds to give me -4. That's going to be -2 and -2. And then at the end here, 4 minus 12 is -8. So again, this is the vertex form. And then to identify the vertex, it's going to be at 2, -8. Okay, so we just went through 4 problems. On your worksheet, like I said, you're going to have 10. The first 5 have a lead coefficient of 1, and then the last 5 have a lead coefficient of other than 1. So the first 5 are going to be like the first 2 examples we went through, and then the last 5 are going to be like the last 2 examples we did. And as always, if you have questions, please let me know. Take care.